Hello everyone, welcome back to another interview on my channel. Today we are going to interview Feinberg, and I just wanted to let you know that there are timestamps in the description for all the questions, so if you have a specific question you want to go to, just check the description. Alright, enjoy the video. So thanks for coming. Thanks for coming
Yeah,
on. So let's just jump right into it. So what is your history of playing Minecraft up all the way up to when you started MCSR?
uh, well, I know I got my first account in 2012, so I guess it's been a decade. But I before survival, I never really got into I never had a big world or anything like that. The first big memories I have playing Minecraft was probably Mineplex with some friends on Skype. And then Hypixel until when I got to high school, it sort of wasn't just Minecraft. I played a lot of Hypixel like UHC and Sky Wars. And then when Bed Wars came out, my friends played it for a little bit, but we got kind of bored. And so then it was always the game we would go back to if we were bored of whatever we were playing. But in high school I played Rocket League, Overwatch, um, Hearthstone, stuff like that, Smash Bros, as opposed to Minecraft all the time like I do now. So yeah, Mineplex on Hypixel, and then I wasn't really playing it until speedrunning. It's not like I was on the grind set and then speedrunning came along and I was sure, but I picked it back up again for speedrunning. I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, so you when you played Minecraft, you mostly did multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't even know if I ever beat the dragon before MCSR. I
Yeah,
couldn't. Don't have that big memory of oh, this is the first time I beat the dragon, because I definitely played survival I remember, but I never had a huge hardcore world or just a huge world in general. I never got into that part of building farms and stuff. I mean, I still think it's kind of just boring in my opinion. Obviously no hate if you I love what the Sidecraft guys do and SMP people, but it's just not my style, you know what I mean? So I never got into it. Yeah, mainly multiplayer.
yeah. So that's interesting. So, how did you get into MCSR in the first place?
Yeah. Like a lot of people in late 2020 probably have this similar story. They're either watching XQC or Mizkif or something, because it was at the time when it blew up because 116 came out. I don't know why the big streamers hooked on it, honestly, because it was not directly when 116 came out, but yeah, it was watching them. I was kind of bored of what I was playing also, which helped a little bit. I didn't wasn't enjoying Valorant as much anymore, and that was the game I was throwing my life at for those few months. And I saw XQC playing, Miskiff playing, Clint Stevens, stuff like that. And I was like, these guys suck. They're I could easily do better in a couple days. That was the main motivation, honestly, was I was watching him. I'm like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. It can't be that hard. And so
Yeah,
that's why I started. And I mean, if we talk about this HPG a lot, if you ask Dylan, he's got the same answer. He has anyone who came around at that sort of back end, that one of the driving forces was that it was the Twitch meta for a month. So a lot of people in that period came along. Yeah. So I started with 116 around that time. Yeah.
yeah. I remember there's this one clip in an Alistair video where you're talking about a big streamer doing RSG or whatever, gets an 8 minute ender, he's freaking out and let's go chat and stuff. That was a so yeah, that's true. So did you have any prior speedrunning experience prior to Minecraft?
Yeah. When Odyssey came out, I don't know why I wanted to speedrun Odyssey. I couldn't tell you because I had never speedrun a game before. I'd obviously heard of it in the sense that I'd watched a couple things at GDQ. I knew the popular speedrunning stuff like SM64. I watched the Summoning Saw videos and stuff like that. But I never actually speedran. I don't know why I decided to with Odyssey. but I was committed enough to like buy a capture card to like record my Switch, and like I even streamed it on the same account. Like I think I there's still clips around. I think I deleted all the highlights just because I don't have any highlights on my channel anymore. But you can probably find clips. I don't think those go away. Of like 4 years ago, me playing Odyssey. I'm pretty sure there are still clips on my channel. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why, but I played Odyssey for maybe close to a year, and I was never like really good. Um, Mainly because I just never like I played Galaxy 2 as a kid, but I never like was good at that whole control scheme, and I didn't like practice well, and I was a kid and I sucked. Um, I probably peaked like top 80 like right when the game came out, but I got involved with like the verification side of things. I was on the leaderboard like SRC team for a few months. And then I just gave up. Like most of the games that I've played throughout my life, I go like only that game for a few months and then give up when I like hit the skill ceiling. So that's what I did. I gave up. It got boring to reset at the at like the start. Like you're comparing against the
Yeah.
first split. It's like 2.5 minutes. You fuck up the first trick half the time. It's like, dude, I spend an hour. I can't get like more than 5 minutes into the run. This sucks.
Yeah.
So I got bored of that. And then right before I speedran Minecraft, actually, in that like lull, maybe like mid 2020, a couple of my IRL friends wanted to speedrun Celeste. It couldn't have been for more than like a week, but we got like set up enough to like, well, the game has actually a built-in timer, but like we were like racing, I guess, just because we had all played Celeste casually, and it's like one of our favorite games. So that's it. Basically just Odyssey. I wouldn't really consider Celeste. It was just sort of fucking around with my friends for a few days. So just
Yeah.
like I was pretty committed to Odyssey for probably like a year.
Yeah, I've always been into Odyssey speedrunning. I did it like all of last summer, and I know what you mean by resetting in Cap and Cascade just all the time. Like I went a whole week without ever going to Lake once, and it was infuriating. So yeah, I know what you mean by that. And I remember scrolling through the Odyssey leaderboards after joining MCSR in like last April, and I was like, wait, why is Feinberg here? And I was like, oh. So I was
Probably like not even top 500 anymore or something. I'm like a 111.
I think I saw you at the bottom, like the very bottom of
100%. It would be.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was it.
that was so fun. I did like the third ever run. Oh my god, I remember that. So it was the third ever run. Maybe not though because of like verification holding like up or whatever, but I know when I did the run there were 2 runs on the leaderboard. And it was like the first time that there was like any sort of like route doc for the run. Cuz the first 2 people just played the game fast and like looked shit up or whatever. But like I don't remember who made this. I don't remember any community names basically. But there was like a doc that was like, you should do this at this point. Like you should do these moons overlap with these purple coins. I was like, awesome. I'm gonna follow the doc. So I did any percent, and then I start reading the doc, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what any of these moons are called. I don't know where I'm going. So I lost it, man. I was on like
Yeah.
IGN looking shit up during the run. I used like the Captain Toad hints and talking to you. It was basically just devolved into like a fast playthrough.
Yeah.
So it was like 20 hours or something. But it was fun. Like I enjoyed it. It was an experience, and I was like the third person to ever do it. So yeah, I'm probably still sitting at the bottom of that
Yeah.
leaderboard.
If I remember correctly, you have like a 111 in any percent in Odyssey.
Yeah,
Or...
I got a 111 back when the record was like 104 or 103 by value, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never got crazy good. Like the hard tricks I would never go for because my like mechanics weren't great. I played on Joy-Cons, so like I never got crazy with like the just controller stuff. Like I know people, I don't even know if like people like Pro Controller better or something, or just like the Joy-Cons are janky in the first place. Like the inputs I never could get precise, mainly because I probably suck.
Yeah. Yeah, most people I've met use Pro Controller, and I don't know how. um, but yeah, anyway, back to Minecraft. So, what was the first category you played in MCSR?
Yeah, so I just picked up what I saw the other big streamers doing, like 116 RSG, because I think I probably knew about other categories, but like all the stuff I was exposed to was just 116, so I was like, let's just do that. And I remember like it must have been like the first week easily, maybe like the first couple days I of me like joining and like actually starting to like run. I saw Corb's sub 15, like the 1456 classic, and I was like, dude, no way that like ever gets beaten. Cause like the only experience I had with watching runs was like all these big streamers. And then when I got into the community, I watched the record and it was Dima's 1726, and he used like a room portal to like blind kind of like
Yeah, that was the first blind travel.
11 minutes in. Yeah. And I was like, dude, that's nuts. And then Core beat it by 2 minutes. I was like, no way. I remember I was like, that's so fucked. And yeah, I played RSG for like a month straight. Not like, I don't know how hard my grind was. Like, I think, let me actually check. Give me like a minute.
Yeah.
Just because this website loads slow. I can check like just Twitch tracker on my VODs. It just tells you how long you stream. This website's always slow.
I think it was like
He uploaded this September 29th. So literally the same day that I started streaming, he uploaded this run.
yeah, the 29th
like, there's
sounded
just no way.
yeah, the 29th sounded really familiar.
I'll find it.
I remember Curry said in our interview that Corb's record, everyone thought it was just unbeatable too. Like,
oh yeah, there's just no way. I was like, there's actually no way, because you saw Dima's run, and it's like, man, like that's lucky, right? Like the pace wasn't incredible because he left the nether like 11 and a half maybe,
and then he just gets 100 block blind or something.
Yeah, so the pace was like, I don't know, the blind wasn't that good. It was like really good, but it wasn't crazy. But it was just like that time save of not having to run to the stronghold. Like his nether exit wasn't obscene. And then you watch Corb's run, you're like, dude, crazy nether exit.
730 nether exit, yep.
Finds the stronghold in an ocean, like no dig down, like what is happening? Like how do you beat that run? It made no sense. Yeah, I just filtered October 1st, 2020. There were 6 sub 20s.
Only
it was Corb's record, Dima's record, and then 4 19xx's. And then there were 26 sub 25s. There are some old names on this list, dude. No way. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Fulham was 13th. T-Wags 15th. Nerdy was 18th. Shell Guy.
Nerdy was 18th. That's, man, that'll never happen again.
Some people out here are like still recognize, but there's like Sneak Snag was 38th. H-Bomb was 45th. Like
H-Bomb used to run. Oh, right.
He's got a 2756 here. Yeah, some of these just old names that I don't even know. I don't think I had a run submitted. Yeah, my first couple runs I used Optifine. I didn't know it wasn't allowed. So wow. I remember having runs denied for that. That was fun. But yeah, so I played RSG for like a month. And like literally, I think it was a month after my first stream. It was like October. Let me see when I like changed my titles. Yeah, maybe it was October 28th, I think is what it was. Because then on October 30th, I have a different title. I kept like, yeah, this one says I have a 2055 as my PB, and then this one says I have a 2032.
And you were doing classic at that time, right?
Yeah, it was all classic. There was no, I don't think there was. Well, when was T-Wag's first Bastion video?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, T-Wag wanted to do Bastions like from the very start of 1.16. But
he was the first ever. Oh, this is old. Yeah, so he was on it for a while. This is July 15th, 2020. Minecraft 1.16.1 speedrunning. All Bastion types in under 4 minutes. July 2020. Yeah, so he knew about them. But at the time it was like very, what are you doing? The better strat was just get 2 pearl trades, because we didn't really understand blind travel either at the time. Like it was very it wasn't even really seen as a more consistent strategy. It just wasn't really seen as like faster ever. Like people were just still content with mining gold for like a minute and then hating the trades. It wasn't like a big deal. So yeah, he was the first. But like it didn't really pick up till like mid-November really. Where like K4 was developing strats, SAR kind of became pretty big, like the people in it, like all the different like magma portals, stuff like that. But for the first until really like Curry's run, honestly, like it was very so much classic until his 1436. I guarantee you talked about that way more with him than we will, but like but until his 1436, it was very very primarily classic. So that's what I was doing for the entirety of the first month, because there wasn't even any like publicized Bastion stuff really. Like you had to talk to like K4 or T-Wag, and then they'd be like, all right, here's some weird tech. Like, I don't recommend this, but like you could learn it. And then I remember I got my mid 17, which was third place at the end of that like month that I was playing. And then I was hyped. I initially thought I was going to be like the next big streamer just because I had a good time. And that's obviously not how it works.
Yeah.
And that demotivated me a little bit. I also got demotivated just because I had to reset harder, right? So like it was less easy to get a PB. And then I also got a little just confused because at that time was basically the invention of hypermodern was like happening during that like entire month, was like the big grind out. So like one day we would be like, okay, now you're going to ocean, like no more villages. And then the next day was like, oh yeah, remember like craft bowls and get dandelions so you can make saturation stew. And then the next day was like actually like learn magma ravines. And I just got like overwhelmed with learning all this shit because like at the end of the day, half of it just ended up like not sticking. It was like terrible. Like no one gets dandelions anymore, you know what I mean? So it's like, what are we doing? And I just got overwhelmed. I was like, I'm gonna waste my time learning something that's not gonna be good. So I took a break for like a month. I don't know what I played at all, but I took a break for a decent amount, and then I was like, fuck it, I want to play Set Seed because I remember, I think I saw like Rad had a couple good runs, and then Minecraft Avenger got a good run, and I didn't really have the same attitude of like, this is like easily beatable, these guys suck, as I kind of did going into RSG. But I kind of had the attitude of like, I still want to play Minecraft, but this is different and it could be fun. So yeah, then I played the Dolphin Seed for a couple months, and I never got the record, and that shit sucks. Just never got the perch. I think I got it a couple times and choked the 4-bed that like would have been record maybe. I don't remember. And that was it. And then I went back to RSG when Hypermodern was more refined, and played and won Speedrun Showdown, and that was that. I mean, I don't know. And then we're here basically.
Yeah. So I always thought Hypermodern just kind of grew into what it is today, but I didn't know it just flipped on a dime like that. Like it just immediately became the meta.
It didn't really flip in the sense that like it was still a long process of like converting people. I'd say probably from like, I can't even look. This is good now that SRC is loading.
So was your 17XX when you realized you were good enough to be a top runner, or was it like your Taiga Seed record or something else?
I think it was the 17XX was what like kind of kept me playing. Because at that point I was like, I beat Illumina, like I beat Banex, I beat Nice twice, I beat like Funder, you know, like all those huge names at the time that was better than. I was like, wow, like that was sick. Yeah. So that was when it sort of stuck with me. Yeah, I just looked, November 30th, I'm still 4th. I got my run at October 30th, so a month later. The only run that even beat a mid 17 was Curryway's obvious, the 1436, you know?
Yeah.
So like that's when it got into a lot of people's heads that it was like, this could be the juice, right? And then yeah, a couple of these runs I remember on the leaderboard here I'm looking at right now. 1856 or whatever. So like there were people that were more ambitious than I was and more ambitious than most of the community because the big like um overarching like theme, and this was the theme for like a lot of runners at the time and a lot of the community, was that it was like very hard to get people to learn new things. So like most people just stuck with classic, but the people who were like adventurous and were testing out the new shit, I wasn't. Like I'll say it, I didn't want to. That's why I played Setseed for like 2 months. I let
Yeah.
people figure the shit out. But yeah, like Nerdy was on it, Harry was on it. There's way more people that obviously I wasn't as close with, or didn't really know what they were doing. But it was definitely a longer spread time. Like Curry's run put it in the face and gave the strat like the relevance and like the not the like the credibility to have like Nerdy try it and Harry try it, and then they got their okay runs. And like obviously I could just have the mindset like, oh, Nerdy played a Bastion, but I still beat him by a minute with Classic. But then you look at like the time saves in the Bastion run, and it's like absurd the amount of time save. And obviously, like nowadays, like we can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just it took a while. It wasn't as like overnight, but like Curry's run kickstarted a lot of it, and then it just took a couple months for like a lot of Bastion like strat development and like figuring out how we're kind of getting food, figuring out the whole ocean like play. Like door portals got a lot better because we like dropped using fence gates basically.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone use a fence gate in months. Months and
no,
months.
for good reason.
Yeah. So from your 17xx onward, what was like your least favorite RSG PB that you felt you didn't play well, or like you didn't like or there's some time save that
My
you didn't take
least
advantage of?
favorite, I mean, I died in my 1414. I think it's probably that one.
Wait, really? Oh, I didn't. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
I died to the golem and then ran back. I don't think I'm looking at my YouTube. I don't even know.
You got a lot of sub.
Yeah,
15s.
it was a 1414. Oh, this one was I was like frustrated with, I remember. I thought I played it well, but I was still like frustrated. It was like yeah. This was a sub 13, no, a 13xx. I remember I got like a stray Enderman just randomly, and I pearl hanged like the other, like it was a terrible nether, and so I pearl hanged back to the fortress, like just everything was like diagonal, 16 chunks, so the fort would have been like 32 away from the bastion or whatever. But I got this stray pearl, so I was like, I played this really well, but it was just a garbage ass time. It was like this is like a 930 blind, which is like ugh.
Yeah.
Obviously it's PBable because my PB was like 1410 or whatever, but it was like ugh.
1410 and you got a 1414.
Maybe that's just not the retime.
Yeah.
I just read like a check in, but yeah, that's probably the retime. And then the blind was like $100, and then I wasted a minute here in the stronghold and got okay perch, and I was just pissed because I was like, this blind was like just too good, and like I don't know, it was like a frustrating run because I knew I could have done better. I like wasted the blind or something.
Yeah.
So it was like whatever. Either one of those two probably. I thought I'm just looking at my YouTube. The 1251 I thought was really good. I got a 1133 after that, and I kind of scuffed the triangulation, but the blind was really fast. It was like a 612, so it was like the fourth, fifth fastest blind ever, like at the time, 8 months ago, it says. So I was happy with that because it was like nice, good time. And then I mean, my PB right now, the 1036 is like okay, like it's just like annoying seed, because the fort enter is slow, but the rates are good, and I like could have pearled more, and like maybe I could have zeroed. There's just like it's weird decision making near the end that's just frustrating. And the overworld's wacky, but it's okay. Probably the worst one would be the golem death that I ran back. I don't know why I didn't reset. I straight up died to the golem and the village, like not even on spawn. It was like a good 20-30 second run back. And I was like, I don't know why I ran back.
Yeah.
So probably that run is like the worst.
Interesting. So, do you think you'll ever go back to pre 1.9 like SSG or RSG? Because you have a 22XX and RSG, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Trading.
Probably not set seed, mainly because like the time is so good now. Like the new seed, first of all, I think is less fun.
Yeah.
Because it's shorter.
Very, very RNG dependent too, because it's.
It's not. Yeah, the overworld isn't that bad. It's just it's like a 1 in 3 for the eye. I think it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's like more basic. That dude, like getting the cane in the other seed, and like crafting the paper and ripping the cane trade, and then trying to rip the eye trade too. Like that was fun. I like the longer seed just because it looked cooler and it like played cooler. I don't know, like swamp, plains, desert. I don't know. The old seed's like fun.
Yeah.
The new seed is obviously faster, but again, you need to do crystal strats and you get a lot less blocks in the new seed, and the end fight RNG is just brutal.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think I want to try it just because the end fight RNG is absolutely absurd.
And much less blocks in the end in the new seed too.
So that's nuts. RSG I'll go back eventually.
Yeah.
Like I don't know when. It's not like a no, like pre 1.9 set seed is a no, 1.14 set seed is a no. But like pre 1.9 RSG and even like 1.15 RSG, they're not no's. Like I still think trading is good and I like enjoy playing it, and I know that my mid 22 sucks because I've had a sub 18 end enter and a lot of sub 19 end enters that I just suck, or the dragon sucked, or both, or whatever. Or like I didn't have beds or air, whatever. Right.
Right.
It could be better too because those runs are cope. Like the eye throws were bad. The triangulation distance, like blind, whatever, because it's not really a blind, is bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like enjoy playing that category. It's just the more that I've played 1.16, I get more and more frustrated with the performance issues on older versions because there's not like 14 mods that you can just load your shit with. There's like 2. So I get more frustrated with older versions. So instead of like playing both occasionally, I kind of have to commit to one. So I'm committing to 1.16 for now, but I do want to go back. Like my mid 22 sucks. I can easily sub 20 with trading. Play. So, and it is fun. So
yeah. So will you ever go back to 1.16 plus SSG like like the gravel seed or maybe rerunning Taiga or Dolphin?
I've been playing the gravel seed a little bit off stream, a little on stream, like on my alt, but a little off stream when I'm bored. Honestly, like I just suck now. Because like the whole RSG mindset is play as consistent as possible because you don't get the seed again. Like dying is bad. Obviously, it's like leave on 5 or like throw risky pearls, but the whole general idea is like play consistent to finish the seed. Whereas in set seed, it's like, all right, you're rolling up to the blacksmith, jitter click the obby, and if you miss, you get to do that again in 20 seconds. I just don't have the mental or the skill or the practice or all 3 to like play that risky, like I'm making sure like when I'm placing this obby, like I know where I'm placing it, because in RSG you misplace your obby like El Bozo, like you like now you don't have a second portal.
The run's
or whatever.
done,
but in set seed it doesn't matter, and I just don't have that like mindset switch, so I'll never go back for like a good time. Like I said, I've been playing offline a little bit. My best end enter is like a 107 or something when the record's like sub 1. So I'm not good by any means. It's like fun still. But I'll never go back. Like dedicated for like the record. And And I'm not gonna casually play anything that isn't like the gravel seed, because the tiger seed is like way harder, like the portals.
Yeah.
The gravel seed's the easiest of the three. Maybe the dolphin's easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just probably like play it offline a little bit. Maybe I'll get like a 2 OX and then be satisfied or something. I don't know. Because my PB does like suck, but I don't really care, and it's just such a mindset change, and I'm okay with like not being a good set seed guy like I was a year ago. I don't really care. Yeah.
Yeah. And Hanabi, Rayo, and Magnetic, they just like they don't do anything else. I mean, they've dabbled in RSG, but they focus so hard on SSG that it's just they're too good at this point to.
Yeah, like they'll like if they switch to RSG, they'll never like hit the top, right? Or I shouldn't say never, but like they're not going to instantly be cracked because it's just a different play style, right? Like
Hanabi has like a 15xx and Magnetic has like a 1258 or something. Like yeah, they focus so hard on, and Rayo hasn't done RSG at all. They focus so hard on SSG,
and that's why they're just like leagues ahead of everybody else. You
yeah,
know, like with the amount of sub twos and just pace and the records and the other seeds and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Would you ever do another challenge run, like all blocks or all portals again? Not those two specifically, but maybe just another marathon.
I haven't had good ideas for them. Like I want to do a finished all versions run at some point.
Yeah.
And other than that, like no, like Silver and I were talking about maybe doing all items again, just because we're better than we were a few months ago and we tried it. Maybe I'll do all blocks again, just because I saw Eldon got like a 6-hour time, and so I know that like I can, even with like no prep work, I can just boot another seed and be a lot faster, just because it's basically like AA with extra steps, like a different version. Like it's got a similar like backbone to how the run sort of works.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna do all portals again. I'm very like happy with the run. I'm happy that like I don't know if happy is the right word. It's just like cool that it like spawned a category kind of and like got like strats developed and like all that optimal pathing stuff and like Wither Obby farm. It's like really cool.
Yeah, I think
I don't think I'll go back to it. I don't like all portals would be the one I wouldn't go back to. All blocks maybe, all items maybe. Other than that, I can't really think of like other challenge runs. Like I would have done more if I could think of them. There's just not really more like all whatever that's like fun.
Yeah.
A lot of people suggest like, oh, you could do all subtitles, you could do all deaths, but then it's like that's like those first of all sound stupid.
Yeah.
Second of all, like
all subtitles.
If I'm playing all deaths, I'm just gonna like I should just play AA because like you need Thunder for all death. Like so it needs to be a challenge that's like substantially different from AA.
Yeah.
That is also fun. And so I like all blocks, all items are pretty obvious, and then all portals was cool. Other than that, I don't really like there's nothing else that like takes more than 6 to 10 hours that is like fun that I can think of. So I kind of haven't done anything.
Yeah, so what is your favorite category in MCSR besides AA? Because that's obvious.
Yeah. Maybe just RSG 116, I'd say. I think it's like it's gotten stale recently for a lot of people. As you can tell, like everyone switched to AA.
Yeah.
Almost. But it's still just great. Like it's the fastest. It like has enough variety to where it's not completely boring because like bastions are different, overworlds are slightly different, but it's just the fastest. Like it's all high octane when you're actually running. 1-8 trading is definitely close second. I just think the strat in and of itself is so interesting.
Yeah,
and
definitely
fun. Like no
nether.
Fortress. Yeah, I mean use the nether for like travel.
Yeah, but
like no nether basically. Yeah, it, like that's very semantic. If you no nether basically, it's like very very interesting and fun, and like the actual mechanics and like optimizations in that version is cool too. Like the sprint tech is like
Yeah.
so interesting to me, and like just the way that the villager restocking is so interesting, and the strongholds are just like quirky, like with the way that they generate and the doors and like the eyes pointing to the portal room. It's just whack. I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's fun. But it's just not as high octane. It gets
Yeah.
annoying sometimes. You play for like 7 minutes and then like the stronghold's 800 away, or like you play for 11 minutes and then there's like no big library, or you play for
Yeah.
15 minutes and then your villager locks you out. So it's like the time investment is more, so it's less fun to get rolled. There's an RSG like 2 minutes, no bastion. Again, 9 instances
Mm,
on a wall, world
yeah.
PvP, crazy mods. So it's like 116 has that buff to where it's like just by default more fun, because if you have the hardware to run it, it is just more enjoyable to run.
Yeah.
But the strats in pre 1.9 trading are just something else. It's very, very fun.
Yeah.
It's a very close second.
Do you have a favorite category extension?
Um, Stockline Wool was just quirky when I played it. I guess technically FSG is a category extension, and that was really fun for a while.
Yeah.
But it got kind of stale just because most of the seeds are just unplayable.
Yeah.
Um, like
Yeah.
the idea is awesome, but the execution, and it's not really like the like filters fault or like the coders fault. It's just like Minecraft sucks.
Yeah.
Like you can't guarantee good terrain always. FSG was awesome though for a couple months. It was very, very fun. Nowadays I think like Pog World or Pog Loot, like a couple of those, like they have good ideas with how it works. It's just, to me, it's like it's too like disconnected from Minecraft, like breaking a blacksmith chest and then you have like 30 obby, 18 iron, 7 diamonds, 42 bread. Like that's not
Yeah.
an actual blacksmith. Like you're
Yeah.
like you're trolling.
Yeah.
So like to me there it just doesn't click, but it's
Yeah.
more so what FSG kind of would be like. It's like it's more modded though, because the cool thing about FSG is that they're like actual seeds.
Yeah. It's
Like
totally
obviously
real.
you can't roll them because of like the way
Hmm.
the RNG works, but like they're actual seeds. Like I could open my laptop, type Dave's seed in, and it's the exact same.
Yeah.
Whereas like Pogloot and Pog World, like you need mods, like it feels different. So I think FSG still has that charm that is unique and very interesting. But
Yeah.
the downside, like I said, is that it just at the end of it too, like it just became unplayable, like
Yeah.
due to just the amount of seeds that were just ass.
Yeah. To me, it gets repetitive. And about Pogworld and Pogloot, like the cracked loot and structures and stuff is fun at first, but like eventually it just gets a little stale, at least for me. So yeah. So at the end, so let's go into the big I forgot the word, but AA. So at the end of your sub 3 run, you said you wouldn't go back to 1.16 RSG, but yesterday you were streaming RSG. I was like,
Well,
what?
I thought about it. I didn't like know what I was gonna do. I think at that time maybe I thought like pre 1.9 trading would have been epic and awesome, and it is still epic and awesome. But then like I thought about it more, and I was like, well, the performance mods suck, and I'm gonna be frustrated
Yeah.
with the macro breaking, or the wall breaking, or the just world lagging, the game crashing. And then I was like, well, what if I just keep playing AA? Because obviously a lot of people watch AA and it's fun. And then I was like, well, my world record has an elytra at 18 minutes, and then my end game is like 20 minutes, and like,
you had
how do I beat
a
that?
you had a
I was like,
15xx any percent, right? In the sub 3, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
I got the elytra like sub 18, and the city was kind of close. So yeah, I think I was in the outer end, either like 15xx or 16xx or something. So it's like, I don't want to reset for that. Like, it's like, so I'd be playing more for fun, and like it's still enjoyable. But like it's the first record where it's actually like shit. Like I can't just play.
Yeah.
Because like before it was sub 3, even like the 303, like the day before, the couple of days before, Like I had a lot of my consistent pace of just playing runs is like 3-2x or 3-2x, 3-3x maybe. Like just finishing a run. Regardless of like whatever, which is why like on my VOD channel there's like a 320 like where I lost 20 minutes to like looking for a jungle with pandas, or like a 318 where I was looking for a notch for a while. Like I knew that my pace was like sub 3able. So that's what I was like going for. And then 251, like not even like 258 or something, like 251. It's like
Yeah.
shit. Like this is actually
I
gonna be
can't
hard to
I
beat.
can't
Like I
beat
can
this.
definitely beat it
Yeah.
if I played AA for like the next month with the same grind set that I had in the last month. It's definitely beatable. If not, I could maybe get another sub 3 pace, like Thunderless or like a 258 or 55 or something. It's still beatable. But it then becomes more of like shit. Like I have to reset now a lot more in the early games, so I wouldn't get to like enchanting a lot. And then if the run doesn't get crazy cracked, I have to reset
Yeah.
still. Like if the run is okay, because like my biomes and like early game was really good. Like
Mm-hmm.
the two major time losses was like
Skulls and
8 minutes
shells.
to skulls and maybe like 10 to 15 minutes to shells. Obviously it's never cut and dry because you're always overlapping things. But yeah,
Yeah.
like if the run isn't like amazing, perfect, awesome for the first like 30 minutes after enchanting, and then like a couple things go wrong and I have to reset. Or like the run's okay and then I start skulls, and if the skulls aren't like 3 for 50 or whatever, like above average, like I have to reset or something. Like
Yeah.
if my debris, I got 19 debris in like 6 minutes, which is absurd. So like if the debris
Yeah.
isn't like really good, or I don't have a couple netherite ingots, I have to reset. So it's still beatable, obviously. Like I don't know how long it'll take to get beaten, especially since I'm not playing. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I still have the dozen fastest times or whatever. So like I don't know how long that's gonna take. Because you look at the leaderboard, like I don't know, Hoffic 332 or 333, Pingu and Elden 336, Fyro just got a 338, Cube's got a
Yeah.
339, Rain's got a 345, Dylan's got a 341. So it's like this 10-minute gap where there's like 10 people, and then you have like this 40-minute gap, and then there's
Yeah.
me. And then
Yeah.
in this 40-minute gap, there's also like
Yeah.
me, and me. So it's like
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll take for someone else to beat it. The pace has been there. Like obviously people can do it.
Yeah.
I just don't know how long it'll take. I said maybe if someone gets like a 3-0x or like a low 3-1x, like maybe like sub 315 someone gets it. And if there's like noticeable time loss in the run, like if it's like a 315 and they were looking for Mesa for like 20 minutes, maybe I'd be
Yeah.
like shit. Like maybe I should start playing again or whatever. Because I
Mm-hmm.
do want to keep the record for a while. Like I
Yeah.
do think it's I don't know. But for
Yeah.
now, like I was thinking about what to play, and I realized old versions would suck because they're laggy. And then I was like, well, my RC time is like bad comparatively to like how I've been doing in AA, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I could easily get a sub 10 is my point.
Yeah.
Like a 1036 is not bad,
Yeah. No, not at all.
but it's
You could
not
do better,
amazing
is
for
what
what
you
I could do.
mean.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna play that for a while because the performance is nice, and I'm still like used to the version. Like even switching between like 116 and 115, like regardless of like the mod difference, like the versions just play slightly differently. Like the boat mechanics are a little different. Like hosts don't work on hay bales. Like there's just
Yeah.
the nether is obviously completely different. The pie chart's different. The eye throws are like everything's a bit laggier. So it's just switching versions is awkward. Switching categories isn't that bad because I can use all the same instances. Like I don't need to
Yeah.
mess with anything. So yeah, I think it, contrary to what I said, will be 116 RC for a while until I get like either a PB I'm happy with or I get bored again,
Yeah.
whichever comes first.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Elden has gotten on sub 3 on serious sub 3 pace before, but just got rolled on various things.
Yeah, he's had good pace into the end game once, like decent, and then like didn't have TNT for debris, and like foods got awkward and stuff, and then Cube a couple weeks ago choked. How did we get here at like 245?
Oh shit!
It was thunderless, and he didn't do debris, and he also needed like endermite and bees, and I think like a donkey. So it was like maybe sub 3 thunderless, but I don't know how much debris he had. Like if he had an ingot or two, or if he had stuff in his shulker, I had no idea. But he didn't have debris done, and he didn't have like endermite. I don't know what the bees were like, because if it was like raining or whatever. But those are like the two sort of serious paces that people have like actually been on. That's like makes me a little worried. And a couple other people could get on that pace if they like grind out runs. But I'm not worried right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. But so in the past you've complained about AA being too hard with the infamous from April 2021, all advancements is way too hard. Either I don't know, etc. etc. So what changed your mind, and how did you get like addicted to it? And when did you get addicted to it?
Yeah. I think what changed my mind was that like I took a break for a while, got bored of any percent, but again still wanted to play a new version, like 116 specifically, just because of performance. And there was just like more optimizations kind of that kept coming out that kept me enticed, like 2RD Uneasy Alliance, 2RD Raid, like Shulker Yeets, like those optimizations like made the annoying parts more fun. And then I think I just like decided to be smarter about like how I started flying around and like not wasting time in places, and like it got very fun, like the learning curve and like getting better, like noticing the improvement, because 116 RSG got stale near the end because there wasn't really more improvement to be noticed. It was just like reset until you get 20 obby at a fort at 5 minutes and then have things work. And like right before I quit, like there's some, even like I think I have VODs on my VODs channel, like the first few videos are like good 20 obby fortress pace that like just some bullshit happened. Like one of the runs, like I didn't have fire res. It was a 415 fort at 20 obby. I got either 1 fire res or 0, and the like educated put me like straight over this lava lake, so like fuck you. So I had to bridge like 80 blocks over lava with like soul sand and like dirt or whatever, and then build the portal. And I'm at like Y80 because I'm like bridging off of some terrain, so I don't eye spy, and I have to dig down, and it's like 820 eye spy, so it's like fuck, like that's record pace. That's by like a minute if I don't get rolled. So that got like really frustrating. So that's sort of when I stopped playing RSG. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, because like you get the pace and then there's still just bullshit that can happen at the end of the run. Like that I just kept getting frustrated with. So I was like, let's play AA. My time sucks. People have gotten better. Let's play that. Because I was sort of like half and half even before I fully quit RSG. Like mid 5, high 5 AA. Like I knew I had it in me after like I think I got a 555, and I lost like 5 minutes because I didn't put potions in the dispenser of the setup. So I had to redo how to re here. Luckily, I had an extra notch. This was back when you would brew 3 of every potion, so I had an extra potion. I had extra stew. I had to like go kill a pufferfish or something. But I had to wait for all, like the mining fatigue to run out because I don't want to drink milk and like have to do the raid again. So I had to sit there for 5 minutes and then do the setup again. And the record was like a 551, so I would have gotten the record if I didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I knew I had it in me, so I'd been playing on and off, and just the development of like new strats helped.
So Yeah.
push the addiction, I guess.
So, what was the main drive for you in AA? Was it sub three, optimizing the category, or like holding the record yourself, like having the record?
At the start, it was sub 4. Um, and I think like holding the record's probably just the biggest one in general. Just because it's like obviously like being the best is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I had the 438, um, it was sick, but I killed myself in that run to TNT while I was debris mining. So instantly, apart from all the other like obvious AA time losses, like not having everything work perfectly, like obviously you can visit one ocean ruin and get 8 shells and a trident. That'll never happen,
Yeah,
duh. But like it's obviously
obviously.
possible. So there's always time save you can argue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yeah,
obvious time save was you lost 8 minutes because you killed yourself debris mining, you
yeah.
idiot. So it's like, okay. Oh yeah, and in that run, I remember my shulker suffocated when I brought it to the overworld because it got stuck in the side of a
Oh,
block or something. Like it
yeah,
was stupid. So I was like, "There's
yeah.
20 minutes off the bat, like awesome." So that's why I kept playing, and
Mm-hmm.
then I got like a 433, and I was like, "Cool." Um, I could keep beating this, but I was still like half and half. And then Cube got a 413, and then What Sock Boy got a 410 or something. Or Cube got a 413, had it for a while. And I was like, and I was sort of playing a lot. I was like, this is beatable. I just need to get a run without time loss. And I had like a few sub 4 thunderless paces, like 355, like 348, 342 or something. Kept playing, and then I got the 333, and that's what like started the whole like just domination period, I guess.
Yeah. just
Because
just record after record. Yeah.
I don't remember there being anything like crazy slow that I thought in the 333. It was more just like, well, I scuffed the end fight, and like the first 4 records, the end fight was just awful in one way or another. Either like I didn't kill the dragon correctly, or like I had to 2 cycle or something. So all the end fights were like scuffed. Um, there wasn't like obvious time loss. It was more so like the entire run was slow. So I just kept playing because I knew I could beat my own time. And the farther that I knew that I pushed the record, the more that other people would have to work to beat it. Um, so I guess that's just why I kept playing. And I
Yeah.
was very, very done with RSG at that point. So it was kind of what I was playing. It
Yeah.
also helped that I was seeing like good numbers on Twitch from it. So I was like, people enjoy this, right? So it's like I should keep playing.
Yeah. You've grown to like
Because of
800
that
to
too.
1K views a stream now. So.
Yeah, it definitely helped a lot. So that I mean that's why like those reasons in general, I guess it's a
Mm-hmm.
mix of a few things. Like, but primarily being at the top of the leaderboard is very cool. So
Yeah.
I'd like to continue to be at the top of the
Yeah.
leaderboard for a while.
So, what is your reset criteria for A? Is there a certain point you reset at if you don't have all biomes or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, the way I played up until the 251, and obviously I can't really speak on it now because I'm not playing anymore for at least a while. Who knows how long that is? But what I was basically resetting for near the end was like overworld with like a sub 5 will enter. Sometimes I think like maybe one of the records was just Temple Lava Pool and I didn't have a village, one or two of them. Like, because a village is great just because your food isn't awkward, but you can always get like cows and pigs and stuff. I
Yeah,
think a couple of the
definitely.
records didn't have a village or something.
Yeah. Eli,
Overworld sub 5. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying that Eldon's sub six, first sub six, was he spawned in the middle of an ocean, if I remember correctly. So yeah, you're
Yeah, there
definitely right
was
about
there
that.
was less reset
Yeah, but like I'm just
smartness
I'm just
there.
agreeing with you about
Yeah,
the food point. Yeah.
yeah. Overworld like sub 5. And then the Nether to me was always like whatever. Um it was basically like have open terrain, get to the bastion, and then get to the fortress and have it like not be treasure. And then have 20 obby and like pearls and fire res. And that was kind of the whole idea. Like it didn't matter how long it took really.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I would reset if it wasn't accessible or if the bastion was like 20 chunks away. But if it was basically accessible within 16, I would play almost like any fortress. Because at that point, like if the fort's 20 chunks away versus 27, it's like 2 more pearls, like whatever. Um, and then I would I spy off a second portal, and then the goal was like sub 20 outer end to like sub 22 elytra, basically like sub 20 outer end with a ship within 32. If not, like a couple pearls and then a ship. That was kind of the deal. And then from there, it was like just play the outer end until you get enough shit. I never really would ever reset runs in the outer end to bad city. I would just deal with the time loss, I guess, because like who cares? Because there was like obviously always time to save. Like going from the 303 to the 251 means that
Yeah.
like the 321 losing 5 minutes in the outer end doesn't really matter. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and even the 251, like
Mm.
the 5 minutes I lost in the outer end, I just get better skull rates and it's the same thing. So it still doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like front loading versus back loading time loss. Then I would enchant. My goal near the end was like to be done with enchants and like starting the mid game, which I would always say was like just killing fish to start doing cats at like sub 45, sub 50, like the worst. Like I don't think I ever played a run out after like the 325 or 321 where like I was killing fish past 50 minutes, because the big like pace blocker in the early game, I guess, like with the day night cycle is just slimes. So being able to
Yeah.
like either get slimes at like the 50-minute night cycle if it's convenient, or if like you're busy doing stuff that time, which is understandable, like you're chaining tempos and fish, or like you're taking around in an ocean, like you just can't find a swamp, you don't want to force it, then you still have that like 1 hour 10-minute night cycle where it's like, okay, you can still get swamps, as opposed to only having one night cycle to try to get slimes in before like the hour 30 is the new moon, so you can't get it. And then if you get a jungle, then there goes like all your pace, because you can't really do ocelots, you can't do foxes, you can't do arbalistic like fast. Obviously you can do them still, it just takes time, more time without leads.
Yeah.
So that's what I was playing for. It'd be like sub 50, sub 45. Now if I was to keep resetting, like sub 40 fish, like low 40 fish would be it, like, and sub 42 I guess would be like probably my cutoff. But again, it's all relative. Like you can get a notch, or like if I had a lot of gunpowder or like lapis or a channeling book, maybe I'd play a little bit because they're like indirect time saves later. And then as soon as I would hit the mid game, I basically would just always play until like at least the 2 hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the runs are never bad until that point, because
Yeah.
like the whole point of the mid game is you have these like few big things you have to do. You have to do biomes, and you have to do shells, and you have to do notch and trident and skulls, I guess, because you kind of overlap skulls while you're like moving around, but like skulls not really.
Yeah.
So you have these like big things to check off, and like gold too. And so like in all my runs, like if I got rolled on biomes, I probably had a lot of shells. Or like if I got rolled on shells, I probably had a lot of biomes. Like it
Yeah.
was very rare that a run was just terrible. It was obviously possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you could check 20 temples and have no notch, and your like drowns could suck, and you could have no biomes. But it was very rare that a run actually sucked. Like it would get to the 2 hour mark and almost always be missing only a couple things. Because like at the start of the mid game, any biome you find is poggers, any trident guy you find is poggers, any temple you find is poggers, any cat you find is poggers. But then like 45 minutes in, now like you're only missing one cat, you're only missing 2 biomes, you're only missing 3 shells. So like now all those trident guys you ended up finding, now they suck. All the mega tigers you found, like now that's useless. So like the odds get like, sorry, my dad's calling me. And I don't want my ringer off.
Wait, I mean, we can pause for now. If
No,
you...
it's fine. It's not a big deal. He's not like just checking it. So.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like just like the way odds work, like at the start, any biome is good, but then at the end, most of the biomes are bad because you only need one. So it's like the odds that the biomes that you're loading is the one that you need as opposed to the five that you need is worse. So like most runs are good up until near the end to where you need to kind of hit the RNG near the end. I don't really know if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it makes sense.
But it was like I'd play basically every run up till 2 hours, and then depending on the stuff I had, I would like force it out. Like if I ended up ever having thunder in a run, I would always force it out. Just because like I don't know, if you only need one biome, unless it's like mushroom, if you just fly in one direction for like 20 minutes, you'll probably just find it. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously it's not as easy as it sounds, but like
Yeah.
mesas are big, right? Like, so if you
Mhm.
fly in enough deserts, like you're not gonna get rolled forever.
Yeah.
If that's all you're looking for. Now, obviously,
It isn't all you're looking for, but
if you're looking for like mesa and then like also donkeys and then also a cat, then like you're wasting time. But if like your literal only goal is like finding one biome, you can get it done in like a few minutes, like less than 20 most of the time. It's just like in most runs, that's not all you're doing, so you can't do that. But that's what I was resetting for, I guess, to answer the question. Was like sub 45 killing fish, and then I would play until like 2 hours, just because it's like fun to play.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
like
also
just flying
fun.
around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to actually be playing Minecraft as opposed to resetting. So I just play everything till 2 hours, and then around the 2 hour mark, I would like evaluate the pace, and I'd be like, okay, you've been doing the mid game for like an hour. Like, what are our biomes at? What do you need for gold? Like, and there's like, if I like needed a notch and shells, that's really awkward because you need to be in a desert and then also in an ocean. But like, let's say I needed like shells in a mushroom island, like that's kind of cool because you can like overlap both of those kind of. So
Yeah.
dependent on kind of like the pace I was at would sort of determine when I would reset. But basically, like around the 2 hour mark is when I'd start thinking, okay, like this run has to like get good, otherwise it sucks. And then also like the obsidian count would be a big thing too. Like if you run out of obby, you can't blind for biomes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of runs get reset like low 2, mid 2.
Yeah.
In the grind.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that what you're talking about. Okay, so in your opinion, what percent of AA is luck and what percent is skill?
It's probably like 20-80, like 80 skill, 20 luck or whatever.
Oh.
Like, because I don't know. That sounds wrong, but also right, because like there's so much RNG that it all sort of balances out. Just because of like the law of large numbers or whatever. Like there's so many things. Like ironically, it's almost less luck based than RSG because there's fewer things that need to go right in RSG. Like, for it to be good.
In RSG, things have to go like exactly right, and in AA, you have a bit of lenience. Is that what you mean? Or
Maybe it's like, yeah. There's also like, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like luck matters more in RSG in rolling a good seed, like because it's pretty easy if you're a top runner to like farm low 2 and sub 2 enters with like stuff. So that's like, okay, you have like a 1 in 40, or let's just say a 1 in 100, like a 1% to get a good nether with good rates in the nether, like structure, terrain, whatever. 1%. Obviously that's very off probably, but like 1%. Because if you don't have a good nether, you can't like do anything about it.
No, yeah.
Like if your nether is 2 minutes slower, like your run sucks. If your any percent nether is 2 minutes slower in AA, I think like half my records I was like digging through a wall for the bastion, or like
Yeah.
like 2K blind for the stronghold or something, like just some total shit.
Yeah.
Or like every treasure bastion you play the top and the bottom, so it's obviously
Mm.
slower than like
Yeah.
whatever. But in RC, okay, you hit the 1%. Your blind or your calculated is like low 6, right? If you blind, now there's like a 1% that you get ocean less than 500 blocks, then like Okay, awesome. Now you're in the end on record pace if you had the trades or whatever, and then you have like a 5% to get a good perch or whatever, like 10%. So
Yeah.
it's like awesome. So there's a lot more isolated luck RNG, and like the skill gap between like Crooks and another top runner, like mechanics wise, is not that big because
Yeah.
there's just less time. Like Crooks Bastions are like probably more refined than almost anybody. But it's not like he's saving a minute on me in a treasure bastion. Like we're doing the same thing. Like
Yeah.
maybe he like loots the chest a little faster, leaves a little faster, but it's like 10 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
And when there's so much variation in the speed of a seed, like 10 seconds is literally like having your second portal be in a wall or not in a wall. Like, do you have to dig 10 netherrack to build it? Yes or no? There's your 10 seconds. Versus an AA, 10 seconds is like nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, obviously,
Exactly.
10 seconds adds up over and over again, but it's basically nothing.
Right.
AA is like more of a mental game, I guess. I'd say it's mostly skill because if it's all luck, why would I have the 14 fastest times, right? Like,
yeah, I think that's
RSP was all skill.
Mm-hmm.
Crooks has been one of the only top runners fully grinding it for the past few months. Like, why doesn't he have like the top 5 runs? You know,
why does
not because he's like relatively worse, right?
Yeah.
It's just more luck based.
Yeah. Why
right?
does he only have 4 sub 10s instead of like 27? Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point about your 14 records. Because if it was all luck, you might still be stuck at like a 330 or. But yeah, so well, so I want to talk about the sub 4 subathon no reset run, and just like how that went for you in general, because sub 4 is this big barrier that a few months ago was really hard to beat, and then in one attempt you just get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at shit right now because I don't even know. Feinberg.
I was expecting that run to go for at least like 5 hours.
Oh, me too. Yeah, yeah. So this was March 11th. So what was my record on March 11th?
I believe it was a 332, but
that was 2 months ago. The 325 is March 24th. Was it the 329? Where is this? I gotta find it.
I think you got the 329 and 325 like back-to-back days, and then you got the 332 like before the sub.
No, it was the 329. I had the 329 on March 5th, so it was a couple days before the subathon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's a 329. So obviously, I'm not expecting my no reset run. First of all, Thunder. Second of all, I don't know what the spawn is. Third of all, I don't know what the end is. Like, what are we doing? So I had no expectations.
Spawn in a giant taiga, and so that's when you spawned in the giant taiga, I was like, not giant, mega. I was like, oh, this is gonna go for at least 6 hours. But
yeah, and then I like turned around, there was like a savannah, I was like, okay, and then the enter was like sub 10 with the tempo, so I was like, that's better than I would have thought. And then the things just worked. Oh my god, I died in the end. How crazy was that?
I don't even remember that.
That is when I got shattered. Yeah, my shulker boat broke.
Oh right. Oh my.
So
that was.
I wanted to reset because I was like, this is stupid because I had no levels to like enchant anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It was honestly lucky that I had an unbreaking book from the stronghold and a looting sword in the end city, but I had no funky enchants. I had to run back, kill Enderman so I could pearl back to the ship. So it was like so fucked. And then I don't know. It's just like I guess still I was at that point where like. Yeah, most runs can just be forced out because, like, I don't know, like I said earlier, like if you're looking for one thing, like just one thing for a while, you'll more than likely just get it. Like one biome, 20 minutes, you should find it. If you're just going in a straight line for long enough, you're going to load enough chunks to the point where if it's not a mushroom island, you can just find it. Because, like, that's the only one that's, like, really, like, biome dependent because it needs to be in an ocean and they're small as fuck. But like every other biome is like huge, So you'll just find it
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
I got lucky though, for sure.
That's
It's
a
just funny.
that no reset was an emotional roller coaster. Anyway, so what's the most frustrating part of AA or the hardest part? Is it like not like biomes, cats, monsters hunted?
I don't know like one specific thing. It's more just like the mid game in general. Cause like I said, a lot of runs get to like that 2 hour mark and you're missing just like a couple things.
Yeah.
But it's a different thing every time. Like, let me look at my watch channel. What did it tell you?
And then thunder is probably
Yeah, Thunder is less frustrating though, because it's not like a time. It's not like a skill issue.
yeah, totally
Not like
RNG.
not like any other like missing a biome is a skill issue, but it's like it's not like a time loss or a time save or whatever. Like it's just it's so maybe I'm just so numb to it that it's like expected, um,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's less frustrating for some reason. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, there's just so much stuff that goes wrong. Like this run says minus 20 minutes pandas. This run says minus 10 minutes debris. This run I lost a ton of time to like endermite. This run I remember one of my records I lost like 20 minutes to a notch. In one of my other records I was looking for a mega taiga and a mushroom island for a while. Like it just depends. Like there's no one frustrating part. It's just the entire end game in general needs to be so like it needs to all end at the same time, which is so lucky. Like you need to like end it all, not be left with one thing at the end for too long. And that just
Yeah.
doesn't happen a lot because of the way that RNG works. So it's just frustrating being left on like one thing.
Yeah.
If there's I don't even know. Maybe shells is like the most annoying because you can just get trolled for a while. Like it feels like it should be easy because oceans are big, drowns are common, but it just gets really annoying. So
100%.
maybe shells.
Yeah.
But then the same thing, like if I'm looking for just a mesa for a while, it's like I've been in a million fucking deserts and
So
there's a mesa on my wall like every other time I reset it. So why
yeah.
can't I find a fucking mesa? Like why can't I find a mesa? So it's like it's
so
just stupid.
so it depends on the context. Like what's the most frustrating depends on the
Yeah, the most
context.
frustrating thing is like the most recent run that I lost, whatever I lost it to, that's the most frustrating thing for
Yeah.
like the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so walk us through the 251, like your thought process during the 251, and as much detail as you want, and how your attitude varied throughout the run. Because at Skulls, because before Skulls you were feeling great, and then it changed and stuff. So how did it change throughout the run?
Yeah. I'm pulling it up. I'm gonna click through. I'll tell you. Um, at the start, I was pumped, man. Like, the Nether was good. I hit the stronghold like 11 minutes or whatever. With like AA stuff, my any percent was crazy. Um, like I clicked at a random point in the VOD. 21 minutes. This is like the third city that I went to with a shit. Like it was just like when do I do Shulker Yeet here?
Oh, by the
20.
oh,
Yeah, go.
sorry.
You're
How
good.
many elytra do you get in a? I haven't watched like a lot of full runs.
I mean, if I'm playing for sub 3 now, like 3 only. 4 is really convenient just because like you have that one that you're using in the like outer end when you're flying around. So you have one that's gonna be on like half durability or like low durability. So like for sub 3, just like 2 clean ones is probably fine because then you put
Yeah.
one of them on breaking and then like you have another clean one to get you through most of the run. But like for sub 4, I like getting 3 clean ones to have 2 to like fully repair it. Because they're like 30 minutes of full flight time each, which is like closer to like 45 minutes to an hour of actually playing because you're obviously not flying all the time. Like you're on the
Yeah.
ground doing things a lot. So yeah.
Anyway, back to
This early game was sick. Like I'm out of the end here at like 32 minutes. And then I get Lapis, and then we I'm killing fish at like 36 or something. Let me see. The enchanting took like a minute only, which was great. I'm killing fish at 37, like which was mental. It's like my best
Yeah.
like start of the mid game ever. I had one run that was like 36 maybe, but it was like this scuffed ass enchant skip where I just didn't have shit. Like this run was like I enchanted, I had 38 levels left over to get channeling. So the pace I was like pumped. And then I think I had a notch off the spawn temple, I think, because it shows in the tracker.
Oh,
So I'd
yeah.
imagine that's what it was. That was cool too. And then I don't remember these next 20 minutes, but I think it was like, oh yeah, Mesa and Mushroom came really fast, which was great. Um, and then cats were good. I'd cats done at like 55 or like 51 or something. Maybe it's here, like 53. Um, yeah, I need one cat at 55 or something. So like it was just good, like because obviously the start of most runs will be better than the end because like I said earlier, like any cat is good, any biome is good, any whatever is good. So you can just knock out a lot of things. It's more so like you're good.
Anyway, what were you saying? Um,
Yeah, so like the start of every run is like obviously good most of the time because like everything is good. Like every biome is good, every um cat is good, every whatever. So the start of this run was good as usual. Um just because everything you hit is unique and fun and quirky. But it was pretty good. Like I'm an hour in, I'm done with cats. I have two biomes, one of which being mushroom, which is nice. I had a trident, I had two shells. So it was sick. Like I was pumped. But obviously it goes downhill pretty quickly in most runs.
yeah.
So yeah, hit the nether here, blinded into Megataga and snow with good timing on the snow also, because like it has to be nighttime to hit the stray. So that was nice. The igloo was fast. Like things were good. So yeah, I was feeling pretty pumped about just the whole progress until skulls got just slow and annoying. And I was like, shit. Because obviously I had enough thunder. Um, so that whole like just is expected, but it like makes me like detach from the run, like not really caring about it as much because it's like whatever. Especially after like it rained at like 210 and that entire rain cycle didn't thunder. Because then it's like I had a rain cycle at the start of the run, like when I left the end at like 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, well it's gonna rain one more time, basically, like guaranteed. Um before sub three. So it can just thunder then. And then it rained at 210 and didn't thunder. So I was like, fuck you. Because
Yeah.
now it's like the rain has to happen in the next 50 minutes, which is like a 1 in 3,
Mm,
if anything. And
yeah.
then it has to thunder in that rain. So it's like now I'm like detached from the run. I'm like, whatever. Like I obviously will still play it out because end game practice is always good. But it
Yeah.
was very like whatever. So there's no thunder for a while, especially after that one rain cycle. Kind of got like just not really demotivated, just like whatever. And
And then
then
236. Then at 236, what happened?
yeah, the second thunder was nuts. Or the second rain into the thunder was nuts. But yeah, it mainly like the skulls were a little demotivating, and then it was really annoying just looking for only 3 shells for like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just like check a drown thing, no shell. Check a drown thing, no shell. It's just like frustrating.
Mm,
To get like no progress after a while.
yeah. I after I came back from my IRL ship that like delayed this, I asked Parker like how the run was going, and he was like, "This is like the craziest early game we've had," and I was just like, "Oh, maybe it was good I delayed the interview because now we get to talk about this." So yeah, that was an adventure of a run. Were you like really nervous or anything, or was it just kind of like
Um,
just like
No,
get it
up
done?
until like it thundered, I was like, whatever. Like I didn't honestly expect like the end game to be as fast as it was, but I think it was just because I had literally no bullshit to do that wasn't like just the end game. Like I didn't have any like food or breeding or mobs to kill or like endermite. Like there was nothing to do that wasn't just the end game. So that's why it was really fast. I didn't think it would be 20 minutes because they're usually like 30. And then obviously no thunder means that like I'm not as nervous. But then as soon as the thunder hits, like all the nerves like flood in. So I was like very nervous for like the first few minutes because I knew when the thunder hit, like the debris was done. It was like 2:30, and I'm staying home. I'm like, fuck, man. Like
Yeah.
I can't
You
screw
just
anything up.
stopped
Like this,
talking. You just
yeah, like this
stopped
was it. Like
talking.
it was it. I was like, this is over. It's done. I just can't fuck anything up. But I definitely was nervous. Like I was definitely shaking a little bit, like building the beacon. Um,
Yeah.
but I've done endgame so much that it just was like muscle memory. Like the pots, like I was just doing the
Mhm.
same thing I did the past 3 months. Like I didn't. It's not like the nerves like really mattered. Like obviously, I think my crafting might have been a bit slower, or just like movement around in general. But decision making wise, like I've played so many end games and just like not even I don't even practice map anything. I've just played so many in so many different situations. I just knew what I was doing. Like I could just do it like muscle memory almost. So it didn't affect as much as I probably would have thought, or as much as you would think it would affect it. But I was definitely very nervous for like a few minutes setting everything up, and then it sort of went away as I was like, I got this. Like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like because then the muscle memory started kicking in. I was like, it's the same thing that you've always done. Like you just do the steps and you're fine. Like
Yeah. Then you finished, and we had like 10 minutes of crying, and then we just,
yeah, I didn't know how I was gonna react. I had no idea. I didn't think I would cry for 10 minutes. I guess it just happened.
Yeah.
I guess I was just relieved that it was over.
I mean, it's just so much buildup,
I hit the
over
barrier.
time.
Yeah,
So what do you think are the limits of AA?
yeah. I mean, you look at the 251. I lost 8 minutes. Goals, 8 minutes, 10 minutes to shells, like 2-3x or whatever. But obviously, that's a little unrealistic because then you have to assume that literally like everything else in the run goes perfect. Like it was my fastest early game ever. It was my fastest end game ever. The mid game basically had no time loss that wasn't the skulls or the shells. Like the pandas were very close. The biomes are all amazing. The igloo, there was like no time loss to like weirdly routing stuff is like always annoying. Like let's say you roll up to the snow and it's like an hour 22. So now you need to wait 9 minutes for it to be nighttime to kill the stray because you don't want to come back. You don't want to try to find another one. You don't want to come back. So like, what the fuck do you do for 9 minutes? Like, obviously you do the igloo. That's like 5 minutes at most. So, like, what the fuck do you do for 4 minutes? So you end up doing some bullshit. Like maybe you're just chopping trees for a minute to get wood, or maybe you're like killing rabbits, which is like faster to do in a desert, or like you're trying to find like arbalistic, but like you're trying to force the arbalistic because you have to do something. So you're like getting like a chicken and a cow from like 10 chunks away and trying to like so you end up just fucking around. And none of that really happened in my run at all. Like I hit the snow a good time. The jungle was great. I think I had to wait a little bit of time for ocelots, but like not that bad. Like maybe it was a little scuffed just because it was nighttime when I rolled to the jungle about like a couple minutes. But there was a desert close by that I like overlapped some things. It was just good. Like the mid game was perfect, basically. That if not for skulls and shells, and then like I said, the fastest early game I've ever had, which is obviously still beatable. You should reset a lot more. And then the fastest end game I've ever had, which is still beatable. You just need to get like better structure proximity. Like no end game will ever be faster if your outpost is like 10,000 blocks out.
Yeah.
Or if you don't get patrol dudes spawning on you like I did. Like apparently, like that's apparently viable now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like beatable. I said a while ago that like the theoretical was like a mid 2-4x, like a 245, 248. I think I said a while ago, and I might even still stand by that. Like it'd take a long time for me to grind, and I don't think I'm gonna beat the record by 12 minutes again if I got another record. Like I don't think it's gonna be a 239. It's probably gonna be like a mid 24x, right? Just because the closer you get to the god time, the less time there is to save. And yeah, there's so much RNG that it like all sort of evens out to be like average most of the time, but because there's so much RNG, it's like almost impossible for everything to be perfect. You know,
Right.
like things will just be bad, and you can still get a good time. So yeah, like 2.4x or 2.3x. Like, who knows where it's going to be in 2 years, 3 years? Maybe
Yeah.
we find some crazy new like
Yeah.
debris mining tech. So the debris mine always takes 2 minutes only or something, or like who knows? Maybe the raid gets hella optimized with the nether and it takes like 1 minute instead of like 3 or 4, right? And then maybe like I have no idea. Like maybe
Hmm.
we finally figure out Mushroom Islands and we can blind
Yeah.
on them almost every time or something. Who
Yeah.
knows? But yeah, like 2.4x, 2.3x. I'm more inclined to say 2.3x now just from the run that I saw, but then I also, like I said, you have to remember that like I had my best early game, my best end game. Like yes, there was 20 minutes of time loss in the mid game, but you can't just expect to get a perfect run. Like that's not realistic. Like the perfect RSG run is like a mid 7, like realistically, but that's obviously not going to happen for the while, if ever. So like you can't expect the same thing with AA.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, will you ever do AA like farther, like 1.7, 1.17 and onward AA, or are you sticking to 1.16 if you ever do it?
yeah, I think I want to do. There was a Minecraft tweet today that the version's coming out on June 7th, 119. I think I'll do
Oh,
a run
June
when it comes
7th.
out,
Oh,
like that day. Yeah,
okay.
they tweeted on their official account today. It was like June 7th, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe June 3rd or something. I think it was the 7th.
Wow. I thought
7th
it'd be
sounds
like
right.
next year or something. Huh. Okay. So, anyway.
Yeah, so I think I'll do 119A when it comes out. It's just again like very frustrating because the new versions, not because the advancements are like harder or like weird. Like I think maybe How Do We Here is going to be whack with like the deep dark, like getting darkness effect. Like that's going to be really weird. But there'll be setups found for it, not be a big
Hmm.
deal. But just like the version in general is just so much laggier.
Yeah.
And more small frustrating changes like gravelly mountains is like annoying as fuck, I've heard.
Hmm.
And there's like no deserts to get
Yeah.
temples for gunpowder or
That's
not.
a
So it's
good
just,
point,
it's just like
too.
annoying. So I don't think I'll actually grind them, but I'll do a run. Like it'll be
Hmm.
fun to play the new version. Like I tried a 118 run when it came out. It just got too frustrating. I quit because it was
Yeah.
laggy and
Like,
shit
yeah.
like that. But yeah, it was fun. Like I'll
Hmm.
do a run. I
Yeah.
won't grind it out though. 116 be the only version that I'll probably ever grind out in the future, just because it's the most optimized and like fun to play, just from a
Yeah.
hardware perspective. Like much less so the advancements
And
and
also
stuff.
just like, and this is less of a big thing, but the NU% split is faster in
Yeah, it's
1.16
the
too.
I mean, it's the fastest A version right now. So obviously,
Hmm.
like you can do more runs, you can get more resets in. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so what's next? So will you ever do pre 1.13 AA, which is basically all achievements?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
It's just like too laggy. Maybe to
Yeah.
get like a run done, and maybe for record, but I don't have to learn like a weird tower probably or something. I don't, it's just like too much to learn, and
Hmm.
like the version's laggy. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not. Maybe to just do a run, just to say I did a run because that's fun.
Yeah.
But
So are you gonna do anything else now besides RSG now that you finished AA?
probably just RSG until I'm happy with where I'm at, or I get bored. One of the two. But
Okay.
probably like RSG for sub 10 or a lower 10 or a couple good pace runs, and then I give up. I don't know. Something
Yeah.
like that.
All right. Well, that's about it. I really this was a lot longer than the other two, but I really appreciate all the depth you went into when
Yeah, of course.
with stuff I asked. All right. Well, thank you so much. Where can the audience find you? What are your socials?
It's Feinberg on Twitch. It's Feinberg underscore MC on Twitter. That's like all I use.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just that's it. All right. Well, thank you so much, dude. It was so fun.
Yeah, no, good questions. I enjoyed
All right.
answering them.
Thank you so much. Have a great day and good luck with RSG if you stream today.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All
See
right.
ya.
Have a good day. See ya.